So, to summarize this chapter, we left off like they were going to see if the Romans would help them get rid of the evil sister. And so most of it is about them going to Rome, her describing the smells there, the vineyards, the things that they're famous for, the way the people behave. She calls a lot of them barbarians, especially the guards and so forth. And they apparently dump all of their waste into the river, and so the smell is terrible. And while they're there, they learn that her name starts with a T. Trinina. I'm trying to remember exactly how to say her name, but the evil sister that starts with a T. They learn that friends let someone into the palace, and then they come and pull her out into the streets, and then she's strangled by one of the wrestlers. So then Bernice is now queen, crowned herself queen. She was the one that was really vain, the younger sister. I think she said she was 20 when she was 12. So in the meantime, they're in Rome, and I'm not sure if that happens before or after or when, because they get letters. Exactly all that takes place, but then they meet Atticus, and she's the whole time worried about trusting the Romans, and then she begins to worry about trusting her father, because she says is a disgrace more than once. Like, she points out times that he was drunk, and then he was being insulted by the General Pompey, and his soldiers were mocking him, I guess in Latin, and apparently he doesn't speak Latin, or he was just too drunk to care. But she actually speaks up and speaks back to them in their language, and so I think he respects her a little more after that. But she still worries that when they find out that the evil sister is dead and Bernice is now in power, that someone would kill Bernice while they're there, and then the Romans would just kill them and easily just take them over. Or then they sent when they sent her to an island, she meets another girl, Julius, and he, I guess, is Pompey's one of his handmaids or something. But so they go to lots of great parties and things while they're there, and there's lots of talk about that in a theater show. But then she begins to worry when she's there, like if her father will turn against her, if she will know, will her father be too drunk? Because at that point they're hoping to go before fall, and this is in the summer. But then at the end of the where we left off is in October, and she says, the whole thing was they didn't have enough soldiers trained, so they kept saying wait on certain ones to come back, because they were off with Julius Caesar conquering other places, and they were training more in the meantime. But here it is October, and they don't have enough trained, and so it's too late to go at sea at that point, because then the winter is coming and it's harder for them to survive and to make the trip. So now at the end of the book, she's hoping maybe in spring. So the Romans are going to help them, but she questions whether that's loyalty. And I forgot, she finds out that her handmaid Neva and Puzo, they like each other. She almost drowns, and then the handmaid gets swept away, and he jumps in to save her, and she finds out that they love each other. So then she begins to worry about, well, what if they're doing something and I need help and nobody's here to protect me? And then she worries if her father finds out that she knows and doesn't forbid it, that he would do something to her, because it's something, I guess, is taboo that you're not supposed to do for that reason. So she's got a lot of questions going on. So 2 ideas I wanted to clarify were I wrote it down. The Amore, which is the vase. I printed out a picture right here. It's found on page 71 and page 65, where they were talking about the sea was littered with vases, and they wondered if it had been from a shipwreck. And then some of the slaves actually drowned going over, trying to go through the wreckage. So, but it wasn't a term that you usually use. Said they use them to store grain or wine or liquids. So that's what an amoray is. And then the next one I thought was she was talking about the men that were there protecting them on that island, or they were as dinkas. So I looked up, trying to get, there's a dinka. So I'm guessing it's a really tall, they're from a tribe. And that's one of the things, although this one's kind of new, that they're known for is their great stature. So I thought that would be something good to clarify. While she was looking at him, saying, "Well, I'm glad they're here to protect us." So I thought of a lot of questions to ask. Why do you think? In the beginning, she says that she's really worried about her father, and because she's on the boat and they're at the island, and she goes to put a seal in forbade drunkenness. Well, then her father gets up, he gets his flute out, and she knows that means he's going to drink. So, because he is famous for getting drunk and playing the flute, and the men apparently make fun of him. And she says continually, like, this is not wise, several different parts. And so one of my questions would be, why do you think that she's continually in her brain thinking, like, what is all of this signaling to her that it's not wise? Because it also says that, she says, am I to show my father how to care? It's not just about him drinking, but she's really worried about his character too. On page 72, she says, am I to show my father how to care of a peasant, like even if he's not drunk and he's here, maybe I can show him how to care, because, well, that would be one of the questions, like, what does she mean by that, by showing her father how to care? I wrote down something else. And I guess it would be included, like, why. She said that Olympus was telling her about wisdom and how to grow in it. That's her friend, the scholar. And she said that he was telling her all the good things about it, but why did he not tell her that wisdom hurt? So, hurt the heart. What did she mean by that? Like, some examples. What would be some examples of what has she inferred from all this? So personally, my response to her, she's a brilliant girl, because she thinks many times, it tells us in the text, that she stops and she thinks, how would a princess act? Not a 12-year-old that, I have a 12-year-old, like, they don't, they are quick to fly off and they're getting all the hormones. And so she says that a lot of times, how should a princess act? And she said that one of the things that stood out was royals who don't act royal will not be treated royal for long. And so she's really concerned about the future of her country and seeing everything that's happening, realizing it may be on her to be the good one, like, because the father's drunk, or the first sister was evil and didn't care, the second sister is really vain, but she loves her, like, she's nice to her, but so she's worried about her country and what's going to be the future, because when it leaves off, I think she's, almost 19, and she's caring for her father, who's still getting drunk, and, she's just really concerned about the future. And I think that's a big, like, not many kids these days would be that way. So this is a lot about her personal character and her insightfulness and her forward thinking and just taking all of that stuff upon herself. To me, said a lot, like, about her inner personal decisions and thoughts. And she spoke that Puzo was really good because they meet his grandmother when they go to Rome, and she invites her to come live with him, but she says, no, I can't, because my sister, like, she recognizes virtue. She recognizes the things that money can't buy, because here's this girl that's had everything, and she's almost like she can see it. She can see the something that they have and good qualities, and those are things that good leaders do. Like, they can see people's strengths and weaknesses and use those things to the advantage of the country, and those kinds of people being in power, and wisdom, knowing who to put there, and that sort of thing. So overall, I just think that she was a really insightful young girl, and dealing with so many things, still constantly pulling herself back to, and the whole time she's praying to Iris, like, oh, Iris. So I think that that's a lot for her to handle. I guess what I'm trying to say. I'm in awe of how she reacted to all of the events. So predictions. Well, I thought originally that her and Puzo were going to be together, but now that him and the handmaid are, because she questions about being married, and most girls her age are being married, but really she doesn't say anything about that. I think she's so forward focused on her country, and she talks about all these, what would Queen Sheba do, so she's seeking out a leadership role, like she wants to be queen. And so my prediction is that she's gonna maybe get tired of waiting and find out for herself, like go and see what's up with her father, because he hasn't been attending the meetings like he's supposed to. So that's one prediction that I have. I'm hoping that the other sister still befriends her, and so maybe they could work something out. That would be good. I'm really not hoping the Romans turn and events get worse, but we'll see.